Hi, friends. Welcome back. We're on chapter 7 of Head, Hands, and Feet by Robert Street. The title of this chapter is Talking Heads. Peter's head was still in turmoil as he walked to the high priest's courtyard, where he gained entrance only because John was known and accepted there. Unfortunately for Peter, he was recognized by a girl on duty at the door. But he swiftly denied being a disciple. Nevertheless, he remained, making use of the fire to keep warm. As he made the first denial, it would have been difficult to forget Jesus' prediction that he would deny him 3 times that night before the rooster crowed. It wasn't long before Peter was challenged again. Denial number 2 took place, but it was when one of the high priest's servants, crucially, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, made the third challenge that Peter made his strongest rebuff. "Man, I don't know what you're talking about." At that moment, the rooster crowed, signifying not only that it was now early morning, but also that Peter had behaved just as Jesus had predicted. Luke's gospel tells us that just after Peter had made the third denial, Jesus turned and looked straight at him. Peter didn't know where to put himself. He left the courtyard and wept bitterly. The head that had asked to be washed, that had promised to die with Jesus and had now denied ever knowing him, was sobbing uncontrollably. While Peter was denying Jesus, Jesus was facing questions of his own. There are a number of accounts of Jesus' interrogations, but they all demonstrate his resolve not to fall into the traps that are set for him, combined with total commitment to ensure that his accusers heard the truth about him. He also displayed great calm and even silence when mocked, beaten, taunted, and misrepresented. When he chose to speak, he simply stated the truth. Facing ludicrous and far-reaching accusations from many false witnesses, Jesus opted not to reply. But when Caiaphas, the high priest, charged him on oath by the living God to say whether he was the Christ, the Son of God, Jesus gave an unequivocal yes. If he was to be crucified that day, the world needed to know what was being done, and so did his accusers. Sandwiched between 2 appearances before Pilate, Jesus was sent to Herod the king. Emboldened by Jesus' plight, Herod treated the whole thing as a joke, asking Jesus to perform miracles, eventually sending him back to Pilate dressed in an elegant robe to add to the verbal mocking he engaged in and encouraged. Once again, Jesus remained silent and in control. His encounters with Pilate make fascinating reading for those with an interest in politics, expediency, and truth. Pilate saw the trial of Jesus as a Jewish matter. It didn't concern him if Jesus had different views from Jewish religious Orthodox leaders. It wasn't his problem. But he did want to get to the truth, or at least he may have thought he did, until Jesus told him that he was himself the embodiment of truth. Pilate's dismissive "what is truth" response indicated a man who hadn't found life's values. Had he truly been searching, the answer was standing right in front of him, willing to talk. Our key Bible readings: Matthew 26, 57 to 67, Luke 22, 54 to 62, Luke 23, 6 to 12, and John 18, 28 to 38. Questions. Compare the different ways Peter and Jesus dealt with questions about their identity. Contrast Peter's wanting to be near Jesus with his firm denial of ever knowing him. What does this say about his state of mind? Might we face similar conflicts of loyalty? Why do you think Jesus remained silent when accusations were being made? Is this something from which we can learn? Consider how Caiaphas, a religious leader, could look Jesus in the eye and be so wrong in his assessment of him. Is it possible that Christians today also make poor judgments regarding the nature and the character of Jesus? Herod seemed amused by Jesus in a superior kind of way. People today sometimes give the impression that they are above taking Jesus seriously. What might be the reasons? How might Pilate's "what is truth" be typical of modern relaxed attitudes to truth and moral law? What temptations might political and religious leaders face today in relation to truth, expediency, and public expectations? How might we help or hinder them? Bernard of Clairvaux is attributed with this verse. Thy truth unchanged hath ever stood. Thou savest those that on thee call. To them that seek thee, thou art good. To them that find thee, all in all. May God bless you.